Whether Matteo Salvini is yesterday's news or whether he's poised again for a comeback. Stay with us. You're watching the France 24 debate. Michele Geraci, in a cabinet meeting, is he the man in charge?
You're referring to Mr. Conte, right?
Yes.
Yes, of course. He was the prime minister. He's been now entrusted by the president to try to form another government, and he has to play the role as mediator between the two forces, the Five Star and we from the Lega, who were coming from different points of view. If you recall, in May we spent a couple of months to have this contract which melted together the different views of the two parties to try to form at least some coherent program for the government, which we did. And the role of Mr. Conte was indeed to mediate during the course of the year any potential difference that would have arisen. And I think we, both the Lega and the Five Star, have done a pretty good job, given the regional starting point. I don't want to list of the things that we've done, but we introduced a little bit of the flat tax with lower tax rate. We introduced a reform of the pension system on the Lega side. On the Five Star, we also introduced an initial part of the universal basic income. We tightened security. Of course, we had a very tight migratory policy that gave result. And I think this is not bad. The problem was when we started to want to do a little bit more, because we want to be pro-market, pro-development, pro-infrastructure, and that means pro-investment. And being pro-investment, you need to pay a little bit of a price, and this is where the difference maybe start to arise with what could be the next new government. We in the Lega want to spend. We know that the Italian economy is not doing very well, and I think every economist in the world agrees that austerity does not work. We all think to agree, maybe not 100%, that the rules that the European Union imposes on budget can be interpreted in a more relaxed way, especially for countries that do need to spend the money. I'm saying the new proposed government, which now includes the left-wing Democrats that are against the deficit, they will find problems, because the solution that the new government will propose is a low deficit, low investment, in order to remain within, tight within the regulation of the European Union. What we in the Lega wanted to do, and would have done if we had gone to election, which, by the way, is still a possibility, is a higher deficit, more investment, higher multiplier to stimulate the economy. Do you know why?
With what money? With what money would you do it? You're already having to contemplate the possibility of having to raise VAT to 25%.
No, we will not do that. That will stay at 22%. I think every party agrees that will not be a tax increase. We want to do a tax cut and we want to spend more. You rightly ask, where does the money come from? The money comes from deficit. That's what deficits are for. Remember, in the balance sheet of the government, every dollar that the government spends is money that goes into the pockets of the private sector, the citizen, the enterprises, the community. It's not wasted. It's a change of hands. Now, the question is, we need to make sure that any money that we spend on deficit, I want to be clear, we would have gone, and we want to go on deficit. By the way, like France did up to recently, 3.4%, fairly good policy, because it does need to do that to reboost the economy. That's what Germany did in the past, and this is what I think Italy needs to do. Because remember also, Italy is one of the few countries that always has had a constant primary surplus. So we only do deficit because the interest cost has been higher.
Michele Geraci, the fact that the League did so well in European elections, did that go to the head of Salvini?
No, I don't think so, because the results of the European elections was just a confirmation of many ongoing surveys during the first part of 2019. They had indeed confirmed what you just said, Mr. Picard, just before, that Salvini was anyway getting the upper hand on the coalition. Then we had the confirmation of the vote, which this is the important thing. The current parliament is the result of the election on March 4th of 2019. 2018, where Five Star had more than 30% and Salvini less than 20%. The result now and the consensus now is completely the opposite. Salvini at 34 and the Five Star below 20. So the question is, we Lega, we asked and we will ask the president to go to election. There is nothing right-wing about this. There's nothing, of course, fascist about it. Why? It is the so-called liberal Democrats that try to change their minds,
you just heard Silvia explain there's a very practical reason, which is this is budget time. You can't have elections. If you're having elections, you're not passing a budget.
Of course. That's not correct. Spain is probably going to vote. I don't know. They will decide. Poland will vote, I think, on October 13. There is no rule that says that we cannot have election in autumn. It is true that we don't have them very often, but it doesn't mean that we're going to have elections in the middle of August. So we were planning, and we're planning to have elections at the end of October, perhaps the beginning of November, which leaves another 2 months to do a budget law, which last year we signed on the 30th of December. And the scenario that could likely come out from a new election, probably a stronger majority on the right-wing Lega, would actually speed up the process because there would not be a coalition as it is now of 4 or even 5 parties, because remember, today's alliance the proposed alliance between Five Star and the PD does not reach majority in the Senate. They are short of a couple of senators' votes. So they need to go and grab consensus by the small party. So we're already going back to the way Italy used to run the country, with members of the Christian Democrats that needed to find a bunch of other percentages to reach the 51%. And this is what's happening now. And it is this likely scenario that could lead to a delay elaboration of the budget law. With the election, Salvini may be getting 35%. It will be much easier, much smoother. And by the way, we have already planned the budget law. We know what we want, so it will take us really a few days. So there is no really impediment. I said, let me remember, Spain will probably vote, Poland will vote. There is plenty of time. It cannot be that autumn is a month close to December. The reason for not giving the people the right to vote, because people have said that they want to vote in a different way that the parliament today is represented. And the irony
that's an important point.
The so-called right wing wants election.
Let's